If you're the type of person who wants to sell their Amazon FBA business for a massive multi-million dollar payday and then take the family on a vacation to Hawaii and then have a great time in Hawaii surfing and ziplining and then come home and sort of sink into a sense of existential dread because you sold your business and you're not sure what to do next, this is for you. Okay, if you want that exact set of experiences, this is for you. My name is Patrick. I spend about $12 million a year on Amazon ads, and I've had access to some of the largest Amazon aggregators and strategic acquirers over the last 24 months. And so I want to give you 4 things that these guys, these large buyers of Amazon businesses, are looking for so that you can start doing those things now so that your valuation will be maximized by the time you're ready to sell. The time to prepare to sell is obviously sooner. It could be years in advance, right? There's even a book called Built to Sell, which I think has a lot of the same sentiment, where if you're planning to sell someday, you should be building in these things. And even if you're not planning to sell, it's nice to have a sellable asset instead of a business that you're stuck in, right? So there's 4 things, and I'll go through them now. Number 1, okay, remember that Amazon businesses are not evaluated by top line revenue, but by earnings, by profit, right? So after Amazon fees, after FBA fees, after COGS, all this stuff, right? So because that is the case, the first thing that you're going to want to do is show at least $1,000 in profit every month for the last 12 months. Could be 1,000, could be 3,000, 5,000, whatever your baseline is. But you want to show that you were profitable every month for the last trailing 12 months. Because if you had a month that was, say you were at positive 1K, positive 1K, positive 1K, negative 2, right? That's just going to raise some flags, right? It doesn't look good. It's a red flag. Number 2, which is right next door to this and very related, is that you'll want to make sure that your earnings have been increasing month over month for the last 12 months. Not as hard a rule, right? You can have a couple months consecutive where you're flat, but you want, if you mapped a trend line across your last 12 months of earnings, you should have that going up and to the right, at least on a gentle curve upwards, right? If your business is in decline, you probably want to fix that and then try and sell it, unless you don't care what kind of valuation multiple you get. It's going to be a lot higher if you're growing, because the acquirer says, if the business can grow without us, imagine how much more it could grow with us, right? If it's naturally kind of growing, this is great, right? Number 3 is revenue concentration. Okay, this is an interesting one, and it's a new concept for me that I learned over the last year or so, where basically, say you did $100,000 a month in top line Amazon revenue, right? You would want all the revenue to be concentrated in a handful of SKUs, right? You don't want one SKU that does 98 out of $100,000 of your monthly revenue, right? That's risky. That's a single point of failure. There's I think it's a military quote that goes, 1 is none and 2 is 1. It's like a redundancy measure. This is the same sentiment, where it's like, if you have one SKU that brings in all the cash, right? The acquirer is sitting there thinking, what if that SKU gets suspended, right? Then we're out of business, right? We paid so much for this business, and the revenue could go to 0. We might be able to launch a case log and call Amazon up and get the listing reinstated, but then, I mean, the ranking could be, who knows how long that's going to take, right? If this thing goes under. So we got to be real careful, right? And again, it's not that if you have higher revenue concentration, it's not that you can't get the deal done. It's just that the multiple is probably not going to be as high as if you had $100,000 a month in revenue and that was 2 SKUs or 3 SKUs, right? I guess it gets to a point on the other side of the spectrum where if you're making $100,000 in monthly revenue across like 10,000 SKUs, then they might become skeptical that this is a logistical nightmare to manage. And maybe it is, unless you have reasons, right? And number 4. Speaking of reasons, right? This is more on a personal tone. It's less about business metrics, but I think you need to just think about how to articulate your reason for selling the business. So in other words, my kids are leaving for college soon. A, I got to pay for their college, and B, I'm going to be an empty nester. So, my wife and I want to travel the world, right? And it would be nice to have some extra money to do that. Or simply, I've been working on this for 7 years. I'm tired of this business idea, right? I have another one in mind, and I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I want to go pursue that, right? But whatever it is, accompanying the positive business metrics, the trending up revenue, the SKU concentration, the profitability, you want a personal story that makes sense, right? Because no acquirer wants to buy a burning building, right? They're like, why does this guy want out so badly? Like, what's his deal, right? And unless you have a good answer for that, naturally people will be skeptical, right? So make sure that you just tell the truth, obviously, but just articulate in the most understandable way your reasons for why you want to sell the business. And those are the 4 things. If you map these now and you start moving in this direction, you could potentially, maybe, increase your valuation by tens of thousands of dollars down the line. So I really hope this helps. If not today, then 3 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever it may be, right? And that's about it. If you like tips like this and you like building an Amazon business, I put together a free 45-page book with all the differences that I've seen between 6-figure sellers and 7- and 8-figure sellers. They basically do things night and day totally differently, and I mapped out all the differences and put them in a 45-page book. It took me weeks to write, and it's totally free. So if you'd like a copy, I will leave that in the comments there. And that's it for me for today. Have a great time in Hawaii when you get to it, and I'll see you around. Thanks for watching.